unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxingego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Virgil Hunter advises Jermell Charlo to be very cautious going up to fight Canelo Peve and then potentially trying to go back down to fight against Terrence Crawford. That's what I want to talk about in this video. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I just watched an interview with Fight Hub TV and Virgil Hunter. Definitely an eloquent mind in boxing. And I asked you guys in a previous video if you wanted me to talk about this, to put it in the comment section, and you guys did it. So we're gonna do that. I've been doing it for a minute, but let's just make it official on the channel. And if you guys want certain topics, you know, you gotta let it be known in the comment section. So in this interview, and I'm just paraphrasing, Virgil Hunter says and advises Jermell be very cautious when going up 14 pounds to fight Canelo Alvarez if he's gonna consider fighting against Terrence Crawford. He opened up and he gave Crawford a lot of props, said that Crawford is a terrific fighter, very skilled fighter, and Terrence Crawford could arguably beat anybody. So there was some high praise. He said that Terrence Crawford also is probably like the best fighter in the last 5 or 6 years. And he's really making a name and setting himself apart. And he's just highly skilled, which is all true. Then he starts to delve into the idea of if Jermell Charlo is, you know, he's already fighting Canelo, that's coming up, and that's September 30th. If he's gonna fight him at 168 super middleweight, then he needs to be real cautious then when moving down. And ironically enough, he even used the exact same analogy that I used, because I've already made this same point on my channel about Charlo should be very cautious. But the analogy he used, or the comparison, was Roy Jones Jr. moving up to heavyweight to fight John Ruiz, but then moving back down for the Antonio Tarver rematch. And we all know how the rematch, the first fight with Tarver, was already very difficult. And I think Roy won via like a split decision or majority decision. And it was very close. Some people even argued in the first fight that Tarver won. So when when Roy Jones moved up to fight against John Ruiz at heavyweight, he packed on all his muscle and he filled out, and he looked real muscular. But I think he made a grave mistake because he beat John Ruiz and then he had to drop all that muscle and go back down like 2 divisions to fight Antonio Tarver, who was already a tough out the first time and a technical fighter with fundamental skills. And Roy had probably slowed up a little bit just from age and attrition and stuff like that. And Tarver also had experience with him, you know, having a whole 12-rounder with him previously. And that was kind of the beginning of the end of the downhill Roy Jones, you know, career arc, where Roy looked like Mr. Untouchable. Because I know he had technically a loss to Montel Griffin. I don't really count that. I mean, I know the rules and he hit him when he was down, but that's like some fluke stuff. He didn't really lose. He basically got a knockout and then hit a guy when he was down. So he got a DQ or a loss or whatever that was. And then he came back and destroyed him with a vicious uppercut. So I don't really consider that as an L personally. You know, that's more of a technicality thing. So Roy was really Captain Hook and Mr. Untouchable from the late 80s all the way to the early 2000s until that Tarver fight. So very impressive stuff from Tarver. But the point that Virgil Hunter is making, and the point that I made, is you got to be cautious when you fluctuate your weight, and you don't really want to go up and down. And it's funny because when I mentioned this on my previous video, I literally gave another example of somebody in the world of boxing that you all know, Andre Ward, who basically suggested the same thing. And I'll give you guys context in case you missed that particular video. So I kind of find it funny that I made this comparison with Roy moving up to heavyweight and then losing to Tarver when he dropped back down 2 weight classes. And then I also used the Andre Ward story in that video. And then Andre Ward's mentor and trainer is using the same one. So it's all kind of connected. So I just kind of find that funny. But basically, this is the storyline that I mentioned previously. I was covering an Andre Ward. I want to say it's Andre Ward versus Kovalev 2. So I was literally in Virgil Hunter and Andre Ward's gym, and I was recording. And one of the reporters, I think, asked Andre Ward, even though he was fighting Kovalev at 175, they said, "What about Triple G?" And then Andre Ward was like, basically he was saying, Triple G, man, we already tried to fight dude. He wanted it at a catch weight of 164. He didn't really want no smoke. He's little G. And then the person said something to the effect of, no, but what about, would you go back down? You know, would you go back down and wait to fight Triple G? You know, not at 175. Would you do it at 168? And Andre Ward was basically saying that makes no sense. Why would I backtrack? That ship has sailed. I tried to fight Triple G when I was at 168. He was at 160 and he was running through guys. Triple G previously told everybody and Abel Sanchez that he can beat anyone and would fight and beat anyone from 154 to like 175. Yet Triple G never really fought in those divisions. I mean, he recently fought against Canelo in a trilogy, but that was way, way, way after the fact. So I just find it funny that Triple G and Abel Sanchez, they were talking all this head and all this praise from HBO about how they could beat anyone from 154 to 175. But then when they had a chance to fight Andre Ward, they didn't want no parts of it. You know, Triple G even has an interview where he was like, oh, no, he's too much for me. He said he was too much for him. So he already knew Andre Ward would demolish him. But the point I'm making as it pertains to weight is Andre Ward was like, that would be foolish of me to gain all this weight, acclimate to 175, because you have to remember the Kovalev second fight would have been Dre's like 4th fight in the division because he did 2 tune-ups and then the first Kovalev. So he would have been like 4 fights deep. Why would he then, after being in a new weight class for 4 fights, because he did beat Kovalev and stayed undefeated. So even if he didn't retire, why would he be 4 fights deep in a new division and pack on all that muscle over time over those years and then go back down to 168 to fight Triple G or lower than 168? It just doesn't make sense. So as it pertains to Charlo, I agree with Virgil Hunter. I've said this before Virgil Hunter's interview was even released, and I used the Roy reference and I used that analogy and that basically that storyline from Andre Ward. So I definitely agree. Mel has to be very cautious. You're moving up 14 pounds. What Virgil Hunter was saying in the interview also is he should cut down to 160 before he like even starts thinking about fighting Crawford or signing on the dotted line. Like before, like don't just, whatever happens with Canelo is going to happen with Canelo, but don't even commit to fighting Crawford until you get your weight situated and come back in the right possible way. That's why, truthfully, I think Canelo picking Jermell Charlo kind of messed some things up, because the way the game was set up, Jermell Charlo was basically supposed to fight Tim Tszyu, his mandatory. I favor him. I think he would have beat Tim Tszyu, and then that would have been a great win for Jermell Charlo. And then Crawford could have rematched Errol Spence. And then if he wins the rematch, which he won the first one convincingly, if he were to win the rematch with Errol, then it would perfectly set up the storyline for Crawford to move up if he didn't fight Errol Spence at 54 and fight against Jermell Charlo at 154. But now that Canelo has summoned him up, that's an opportunity. I get it. You're not going to turn down a Canelo opportunity in that type of bag, but it kind of messes some things up because a lot of people, they really want to see the fight with Jermell Charlo and Crawford, but the gaining of weight and then looking back down really doesn't make that much sense. And then the other thing is when they announced Jermell Charlo and Canelo on the ring walk, the WBO already committed to stripping Jermell Charlo, so he'll no longer technically be undisputed. So even if Crawford and Charlo fought at 154, it wouldn't be for all the belts. So a lot of moving parts and a lot of things change just with this one decision to have Canelo fight Jermell Charlo and have him move up. So I just want to talk about what Virgil Hunter said. I mean, for me, I'm not going to look too far into it because Canelo and Charlo has a rematch September 30th. It goes down, and we don't even know how that fight plays out. So a lot of fans, they want to see Crawford versus Charlo because the beef and, you know, Crawford mid-fight drop an arrow, talking trash to Jermell in the audience and stuff like that. And that's what y'all like. Y'all like the drama. Y'all like the gossip and all that type of stuff. I get it. But for me, I'm a bit more level-headed and reasonable. I see this stuff. I've seen sparring wars like in the gym and stuff like that. I mean, it's just another day in the office. I've seen beefs up close and personal. Like I was in the Barclays when Danny Jacobs and Jermell Charlo had that run-in. You know, I've been there for that. When Paulie Malignaggi and Conor McGregor started yelling at each other after the grand arrivals, I've been there live, front and center for those types of events. So I don't get, you know, I don't blow them out of proportion. So I do agree with Virgil Hunter here. If Jermell Charlo is going to fight Crawford, he has to really consider it. I really actually don't like it just because the weight jump, unless he's going to fight closer to where he's fighting Canelo. I just don't like the idea of moving up and bulking up. And Virgil Hunter said it perfectly. He says, you're putting on all this muscle, especially if you're strength and conditioning, just to break down. Your muscles aren't going to want to, you know, just go away. And I agree with that. You're not going to bulk up and put on all this size only to have to cut it. And then you start depleting. And then my biggest fear is this. I think Crawford has fought guys when he fought them, but there were some like kind of handicaps or guys that I didn't expect that they could beat him at all, like Indongo, you know what I mean? Or even Mean Machine or John Molina. I didn't think any of these guys could beat Crawford. So if Jermell and Crawford were to fight, I want to see it on like an even playing field of fair terms, not Crawford moving up. He looked like he struggled to make 147. So 154 is probably not going to be that like crazy of a jump. It looks like it'll actually benefit him because it'll give his body a break from doing a cut at his age of 35 or 36. But I don't want to see fighters move up and then gain muscle mass and bulk and then deplete themselves and then look horrible on the scale, because really that's what a lot of people have said with Errol Spence. They said Errol Spence should have been moved up and he looked weight drained. So I don't want another potential situation where if Crawford and Charlo were to fight, then people are saying, oh, you know, Crawford beat Charlo because he was weight drained. You know what I mean? So I'd rather just not see it under those terms. Let me know how I did. Virgil Hunter spoke his mind. I agree with him. I think Charlo has to be very cautious how he moves with his weight. He's made the decision to move up to fight Canelo, moving up 14 pounds. So he has to consider that in terms of moving back down and what he wants to do. So let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Watch some more of my videos. They'll pop up on the screen. And I'm out. Introducing Super Thanks. Right here on the official Boxingego YouTube. Super Thanks allows you, the viewers, to show a little bit of extra gratitude, which enables me as a full-time content creator to push out the content you need in the world of boxing. Underneath all the videos, you will see a heart with the $ in it. You can enter any amount that you find suitable as a super thanks. A brand new interactive and colorful way to get your comments highlighted and noticed by not only myself, but other people on the YouTube platform. Super thanks, a unique and cool way to show and applaud us full-time content creators. Hopefully you guys enjoy the content. Super thanks. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.
Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster. We working.